Straight ahead on 49ers Central, the Niners have dropped 3 straight. So how does Mike Singletary think it's going after Week 8? There's a new starter in the secondary. What motivates Terrell Brown? And the Titans finally have a win. How did the Niners stop them from making it 2 straight? We have the answers, all coming up right now. This is 49ers Central.
Our formula is this. We go out, we hit people in the mouth.
Hey everybody, welcome into 49ers Central. I'm Dave Benz. The Niners are reeling in the midst of a 3-game losing streak. Fortunately, the head coach does believe his team's issues are correctable. Here's 60 seconds with Singletary.
We shot ourselves in the foot. It had very little to do with the Indianapolis Colts. And when our team, being as young as they are, when they look at that, they're going to be frustrated walking away from it, and then come back and be man enough and be a team that has character enough to say, okay, that's enough of that. At some point in time, you just get, okay, that's enough of that. Let's go. Enough of this, enough of that, let's go. And hopefully we're at that point right now where we're ready to take that step and eliminate the foolish plays. Eliminate. Hopefully, we're ready to step into the next realm. If we want to be a playoff team, which we do, if we want to be that team, then okay, it's on us. It's not the other team. It's us. So we have to make that decision to make sure that we do everything that we can as players and coaches. Say that's it. Let's go. Let's play the game. Let's execute. Let's win.
Well, the good news, they're taking on a team with only 1 win, and they're back at home. The Tennessee Titans' first trip to San Francisco in a decade. By the way, it'll be the first meeting between Jeff Fisher and Mike Singletary, former Bears teammates. With that, we welcome in a guy who will never get confused with Steve Bono, Lorenzo Neal. Steve is on assignment this week. We're actually going to catch up with him later. Eric Davis is always with us. And, guys, this one really, you take a look at it, number 2 rush offense against number 2 rush defense. That's probably going to decide the game.
Right, it's a great matchup, but I think that everyone knows that this is a must-win for the San Francisco 49ers. Hate to say that we use that word must-win, but hey, you know, Tennessee's coming in, they're relaxed, they have nothing to lose. You know, the pressure's on San Francisco, so to kill spikes, you linebackers, put on your big boy pads because it's going to be physical.
Well, you know what? The 49ers have had their share of top-flight running backs this year, and they handled them pretty well. So I expect them to do the same thing this week and put the ball in Vince Young's hands and put the game on his arm.
Although Chris Johnson a lot quicker than the other big backs they've taken on. Hey, the last time these two teams hooked up, both were in the midst of very forgettable seasons. The then 2-8 Titans scored 21 third-quarter points en route to a 33-22 win, which dropped San Francisco to 2-9. All right, so let's not dwell on that. Offensively, the Titans are a run-first team with an O-line anchored by All-Pro center Kevin Mawae and a backfield capable of breaking off huge runs thanks to Speed King Chris Johnson, whose 824 yards lead the league. Defensively, you won't see Jason Jones's name here because he's a pass rush specialist, but look out when he gets in there as he leads the team with 4 sacks. And the return of Cortland Finnegan from injury last week against Jayville provided the secondary with a big boost. It's that secondary that Alex Smith and co. would love to exploit this week. And Mike Singletary thinks Alex Smith could be on his way to being the special quarterback the Niners thought they were getting when they drafted him. Here's a listen at what he said on Monday.
We just want to make sure that this time around, we want to do everything that we can to put Alex in the best situation to be successful, because it looks like he is developing very quickly into that quarterback that can be a special quarterback.
And, Eric, you believe that development is the storyline to watch this week?
Well, absolutely. I want to see if he can develop into that special quarterback. He had a great half, followed that up with an average game. Now he needs to put together 4 solid quarters and see if he can lead his team to a victory.
Lorenzo, you're not getting as creative. You're going with the more conventional number 2 rush offense against number 2 rush defense.
Without a doubt. Chris Johnson last week had 228 yards, biggest game of his career. Wow, if you see the back of this guy, it's too late. See the back of 2-8, it's too late. San Francisco got to play 9, 8 guys in the box and stop the run.
All right, let's take a look at the NFC West standings. Nothing really changed last week because the Rams were the only team to get a win, and at this point, I would say they're probably out of it. You guys, thank you for being there. We'll get back to both of you in just a bit, but time now to turn our attention to this week's Coach's Corner. In the midst of his first ever 3-game skid and facing a brutal stretch of 2 games in 5 days, Mike Singletary easily is under the most pressure of his young coaching career. Pressure he's adding to personally by repeatedly declaring his team playoff caliber. Coach, let's get right into it. Following the loss over the weekend, you again said this team is going to make the playoffs. How has your team responded to that cry?
I'm not telling them anything that they don't know. It's just a matter of them watching the film, looking at the film. They look at the same thing that I do, seeing some of the little things that we have to do in order to get where we need to go. I think it's a different thing when you're playing week in and week out and you're getting the crap kicked out of you and you're talking about playoffs. You got too many issues. I don't think that's the case here. I think we're closer than some of the other people think we are. But I think the most important thing is for us to understand. Yes, we can set a goal in terms of, yes, we want to go to the playoffs. But the most important thing for us to focus on right now are the Titans coming up.
And the Titans playing a lot better football, at least last week, getting the win over Jacksonville. What's your initial impression on that team now that they made the switch back to Vince Young?
Vince is he's a good quarterback, and he's a good young quarterback that can run. He's going to pose some really interesting issues in terms of making sure that we know where he is at all times. And they've got a heck of a running back that can run the ball. They're a team that can be very dangerous.
Smith from a shotgun takes the snap, looking end zone, throws back to the end zone, caught Vernon Davis again. Touchdown Niners.
Coach, speaking of quarterbacks, your own young quarterback, Alex Smith, you said on Monday you're seeing signs of the player that they thought could be special when he was drafted by the franchise. What have you seen differently in him?
He's more poised. I think he has a better understanding of what we're trying to do. I think he's one of those guys that, he's going to get better with time, and he's getting in a comfort zone, and it's slowing down for him.
Coach, last thing, we've seen this team a couple of times at Minnesota, at an Indianapolis, be in a situation where it seemed like maybe they just needed one big play to maybe change the game. You couldn't get it. How does this team grow from those experiences, and is that part of the learning process in the NFL?
It lets you know that you're close, you're doing some things right. And it's just a matter of really focusing in on the things that you have to do, the detail of getting it done and going out there and making it happen.
Coming up on 49ers Central.
Well, it's been a rough year so far for the Titans, but Tennessee's still dangerous. Stick around later on 49ers Central. Eric and Lorenzo break down how to keep the Titans at 1 win on the season. And what does gambling and Terrell Brown have in common? Find out more about the Niners' new starter in the secondary as 49ers Central rolls on.
Hey, I'm not going to let you go anywhere. I'm Terrell Brown for the San Francisco 49ers cornerback. We'll be right back.
'49ers Central is brought to you by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit us at geico.com or call 1-800-947-AUTO. And by Samsung, official HD TV of the NFL. Samsung, that's how I see it.
Smith under center, delay handoff. Gore tries the middle. Gore's got some room to the 40. Gore breaks through 50. Foot race. 40, 30, 20, 10. Gore to the house. 49er touchdown.
When it's been good, it's been great for Frank Gore this season. Now with 3 TD runs of over 60 yards. So in light of Joe Staley's sprained knee, Gore might find running the ball a bit tougher against the Titans. And unfortunately, Staley's hardly the only key Niner slated to be out for a while. Cornerback Nate Clements will also miss a minimum of 6 weeks with a broken scapula, which means the Niners will be relying heavily on Terrell Brown. And as Minnie Bach explains, Brown is relishing the opportunity. Here's this week's Focus on a 49er.
Most of Terrell Brown's NFL experience has come on special teams and in nickel packages, so it came as no surprise to him that in his first career start at left corner, Peyton Manning tested him the Colts' first play of the game. As a self-proclaimed student of the game, it's what Brown's been waiting for.
They bring 5 on a blitz. Manning throws an out pass, and Reggie Wayne caught it. Terrell Brown smothered him for no gain.
What did you learn about yourself from your first complete start?
My win was great. My win was great. I didn't get tired. I felt great out there. You know, a little jitters at the beginning, but those went out after the first play, and I was ready to roll.
You are known for your closing speed, but what would you say your strengths as a cornerback are?
I'm a speed player. You know, I trust my speed. I don't think too many people can outrun me. You know, so I definitely believe that, you know, I'll gamble on certain plays, but you got to gamble at the right time. You know, a lot of great corners, you know, gamble at the right times. And, you know, I'm really a student of the game. You know, I watch a lot of guys. I critique myself very hard, and I'm very hard on myself.
What players specifically did you learn from?
I think before I came into the league, it was some of the guys I played with at Texas. You know, Nathan Vasher, Quentin Jammer, Michael Huff, Cedric Griffin, those type of guys. But when I got into the league, you know, just watching film on Nate and watching film on Walt and watching film with on Dion and Champ Bailey and Dre Bly, and just try to steal little things from each player's game that I think that can help me in my game.
They say good things come in threes. You have the new contract, your first start of the season. What's next?
The sky's is the limit. You know, us getting on the right track, us winning these next 4 or 5 games and just keep it rolling. You know, the most important thing for us is to stay focused, you know, not to get our heads down. It's still a long season. We're still in the hunt, and we have a great team. You know, coaches bringing that family atmosphere in, and that's one of the most important things that we're doing is sticking together. So if we stick together, I think the sky's the limit.
Brown lost both of his parents in 2 separate and unexpected circumstances at the age of 9 and 21. He says they gave him the energy and passion he has for the game, and every time he steps on the field, he draws his strength from them.
Physical with an F.
Well, you know, every week we get physical with an F on this program. This week we're giving the line to the boys up front who put a pass rush on Peyton Manning, unlike the type he had seen all season. Manning just 2 sacks in his first 6 games. The Niners got to him 3 times in 1 game. Unfortunately, it didn't equate to a win. And the Niners defense will have to find a way to shut down Vince Young on Sunday. Eric has the keys to stopping Tennessee's former #1 pick. And speaking of Tennessee, Patrick Willis was born there. Keep it here to find out how much the leader of the D knows about the Volunteer State as 49ers Central continues.
Don't go anywhere. 49ers Central will be right back.
Welcome back. Don't forget Comcast Sportsnet Bay Area is home to the only official 49ers postgame show. Catch it this and every week immediately following the conclusion of the game. Meantime, a quick look at the NFC West slate for Week 9. And by the time the Niners kick off against Tennessee, they should already know whether or not a victory will propel them back to the top of the division standings, because that Cardinal-Bear game is a 10 a.m. start. Let's open up the 49ers playbook. We know on D, the Niners need to stop Chris Johnson, but on offense, Boy, there is a chance for them really to run up some numbers because the Titans' pass defense is in the bottom of the league.
You know, Ian, Alex Smith needs to have a good day. The 49ers cannot run the ball effectively so far this season, and he has an opportunity to pick apart a secondary that's really not playing well right now.
You see Cortland Finnegan, he is back. He could make a little bit of a difference as Alex Smith and co look to exploit that. How can they do it? Well, we sent Lorenzo Neal in for this film session.
Hey guys, I understand the San Francisco 49ers is built around Frank Gore, number 21, Superman without the cape. But just wait a minute. After watching the Tennessee Titans secondary, there are plenty of holes for Alex Smith to exploit this defense. If you watch this tape here, I'll show you a couple plays what I'm talking about. Right here, Fuller, he's supposed to be in man coverage. They're bringing a weak safety blitz off the corner. This guy's got to do a better sagging right there. This young man right here drops the coverage right here. You got a wide open receiver. You put a lot of pressure on the cornerback. He makes a great move upfield to get yards after contact. This second play, Garrard does a great job holding the safety with his eyes, and they're playing zone, some type of zone defense. Watch this ball perfectly in the hole. You understand this guy's not coming through the zone. Get out here. Come put some help this guy. Put some pressure on this guy. You can't do this. This particular play, if you watch Keith Bullock in 37, they're in man-to-man. He's got to jam the tight end off the ball. Jam this guy. He's got the back, man-to-man. Watch this play if you let the film roll. He comes through the zone. No one's there to jam him. He runs free all the way through the zone, does a great job catching the ball, getting up the field, and this defense, I'm telling you, is hurting. So I really believe the San Francisco 49ers can have a great day passing the ball if they stick with it and throw the ball and look for the receivers down the field. I think that they can have a field day this weekend.
Well, here's the numbers we were alluding to. The Niners passing offense not great, 22nd overall in the NFL heading into this game, but the Titans passing D even worse, dead last in the league and not overly opportunistic with just 6 interceptions on the season, though 2 of those did come last weekend against the Jaguars. And Lorenzo, I want to talk to you though about Vince Young. He comes back in, Titans get a win. Is it really that simple? Change quarterback and all of a sudden it's a different team?
No, that is not the magic. That is not the magic element. Vince Young played great, but he played good game. It wasn't great. And, you know, they have a great running game. So, no, that's not the answer. San Francisco's just got to get after this guy, beat the guy up, give him a bunch of different looks, zone blitz him, and make him one-dimensional.
But Vince Young does present problems that the Niners are going to have to address. We asked Eric to address some of those in his film session.
Dave, Lo-Neal, as both of you guys know, football is about attacking a team's strengths and weaknesses, but that also applies to players as well. Vince Young is the type player that has all the mobility and arm strength that you want in a quarterback. But what you need to do, and as you can see right here, is not allow him to avoid the rush as he's doing here. You can see the strong arm. He's able to make the type throws that a lot of quarterbacks can't make across the field, and he can make them accurately. When you give him easy reads within the pocket, as you'll see on the screenplay right here, again, he's in a comfort zone. He's able to just drop it down, disguise the play, and get positive yardage out of it. And when you really rush this guy and you allow the pocket to break down, then he's able to beat an initial lineman. Then he can also look at the secondary defenders down the field, give them a move in space, and he's at his absolute best. So the way you really want to attack this guy is you want to push the pocket up into his face. Defensive ends need to keep him within that bowl and make him have to stand in the pocket and decide what he wants to do downfield with his arm. That's the weakness of his game. That's the way you want to put the pressure on him.
Vince Young coming back is a nice story, Eric, but it doesn't change this. Chris Johnson, Chris Johnson, Chris Johnson. And have I mentioned Chris Johnson?
Tackle Chris Johnson.
Yeah, thanks to Johnson, the Titans rushing attacks, as we've said a couple of times, number 2 overall in the NFL. And we've also said a couple of times the Niners defense against the rush, number 2 overall in the NFL. For what it's worth, Johnson told a national radio show Tuesday he wants people to think of him in the same breath as Kobe, LeBron, and Tiger.
Wow, yeah.
Maybe he's playing the wrong sport. He's not mentioning any football players there. But that takes us into our players to watch. And who are you going with?
Have you ever heard of a Titans running back named Chris Johnson?
I believe I have.
Yeah, this guy right here, if he's even, he's leaving. He's the fastest running back in the NFL, and you know what? There's no one who's going to catch him from behind. If you're reading his name, you're in trouble.
You can't take Chris Johnson, Lorenzo, so who's your player to watch?
I got to go with the big man, the tight end from San Francisco 49ers. This guy, he can stretch the field. He's always getting over. You can put a safety on him, a linebacker, and trust me, this guy, you can't stop Davis.
All right, Lorenzo, thanks for stopping by. It was good stuff. We're going to let you go, and we're going to check in with Steve Bono later. So your part is done, but coming up, we're going to get into our prospect and predictions. Before we do that, we need a little insight about Tennessee, and for that, we hit up a native Tennessean.
It's time for another exciting episode of Know Your Opponent. Now, here's your host, Dave Benz.
All right, this week for Know Your Opponent, we find Patrick Willis, who is actually from Tennessee. And how much you know about your home state?
Man, I don't know. I'm kind of rusty, to be honest with you.
You were brought up there, so you should be a good candidate for this. First question. What was the name of the Tennessee Titans before they moved to Tennessee?
The Houston Oilers.
1 for 1, look at that. What was the name of the play that ended the 2000 wildcard game between the Bills and the Titans?
That kickoff return that they threw across.
They gave it a name. Very Nashville-ish.
Music City, Miracle.
Music City Miracle. I think it's a miracle you got it right.
Music City something.
All right, 2 for 2. What is the name of the oldest continuous radio show in the United States? It's been broadcast from Nashville every Friday and Saturday night since 1925.
I pass. I don't know that.
We were looking for the Grand Ole Opry. All right.
Oh, if you just said something like the oldest mall or something like that, you had to give me more to it.
All right, well, you passed. You got one more. Still got a chance at 3 for 3 here. Last question. What is the state slogan? Tennessee is the blank state.
Volunteer state.
Volunteer state. We'll give you 3 for 3.
Yeah.
Thanks for playing Know Your Opponent.
Thank you.
Tune in next week for another episode of America's favorite game show, Know Your Opponent.
So Patrick Willis, pretty good. And with that, we get into our prospect and predictions. We're going to check in with Steve Bono in a minute. First, I want to remind you, you can play along at home, csnbayarea.com. Click the 49ers tab, and then you'll find 49ers Central. All right, let's get into what happened last week. And somebody had a pretty good week, but we'll begin with Steve Bono. His question, would the Colts offense go over or under 30 points? He predicted under. And he was correct. They only scored 18. Your question last week, Eric, Michael Crabtree, true or false, he would reach the end zone. And you said?
Well, you know what? I knew he'd have a good game, continue to improve, but I said he wouldn't make it into the end zone yet. This week, he'll make it in the end zone.
Oh, look, calling out your shots. All right. Brendan's question last week, would the 49ers defense get a sack? Brendan wasn't real happy. They got 3 sacks. Who saw that coming? So no points for Brendan. The bonus question last week was, which team would record more takeaways? And, well, Steve said it would be the 49ers. He got that wrong. However, Eric and Brendan both said it would be the Colts. Colts won it 2-0. So, with that, we can update our prospect and prediction standings. And
look at the chart.
You're 4-0 the last 2 weeks.
Hey, I told you,
it's
a marathon, not a sprint.
So now there is a tie for second. Brendan's still leading the way with 8 points, but Steve and now Eric right on his heels, just 1 point back. And that gets us into our questions this week. We're actually going to join Steve Bono right now via satellite, and he's on location. Steve, we begin. Will the Titans score their first touchdown in the first half, second half, or none of the above this week?
I'm going to go second half. Niners defense playing pretty well. I'm going to go second half for a first score for the Titans.
All right. How about you, Eric? Chris Johnson, over or under 100 yards?
You know what? Greg Minuski normally does a very good job of taking away what a team does, but this kid is special, and I think he won't kill him, but he'll get 100 yards.
All right. He's had 356 the last 2 weeks. By the way, Brendan Benz celebrating his first birthday this week. He's got the birthday hat on, so we're going with cupcakes. True or false? Vernon Davis's touchdown streak continues, and Brendan going with true on that one. He is 2 touchdowns away from the 49ers single-season record. All right, let's get to our bonus question. Steve, we go back to you. Vince Young and Alex Smith, both new starters for the Titans and the Niners. Who's going to have more passing yards this week? They're pretty similar statistically.
I'm going with the Niners, absolutely. The Titans will have Vince Young starting at quarterback and Alex Smith for the Niners. I'm going with the Niners.
All right, thank you, Steve. Enjoy your assignment vacation. Eric, who you going with on this one?
I'm going with the Niners as well. The Titans' offense is all about running, giving the ball to Chris Johnson. You've heard of him, right? So I think that, you know what, the Niners will definitely get the ball.
All right, so you're going Niners.
I'm going Niners.
Let's go with the birthday boy. He's got helmets on the cupcakes this time. Oh, he's going with the Titans. He believes in Vince Young this week. I don't know that that's so good. All right, that does it for this edition of 49ers Central. It's been a fun. Thanks to Lorenzo Neal for stopping by. Next week, Steve Bono, of course, will be back. And make sure you check out this guy along with Gary Rednich and the mayor, Willie Brown, on 49ers Post-Game Live immediately following the game. And once again, happy birthday to Brendan Benz, 1 year old this week.